Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 534 of the Ping Pong Flix Show. Let's go over that GQ interview with Robert Pattinson. Not too much revealing about the character itself, but he did say these comments that kind of, made people upset and other people understand him for who he is. Robert Pattinson says he's been ignoring his Batman trainer who asked him to keep working out during quarantine. I think if actors work out all the time, they're part of the problem. They set a precedent. No one was doing this in the 70s. James Dean wasn't exactly ripped. So this comment kind of got people upset. Batman fans upset and things like that. But for people who kind of understood Robert Pattinson, he's like a known troll. He kind of just says things, gaslight sometimes. But for the most part, I still think as an actor, he's probably going to do what the director tells him to do, and that is to, put effort into it. Now, people are getting upset about this, especially someone like John Campea, right? John Campea did a 30-minute rant on this. It was hilarious. I listened to it the first time, and yes, I actually went back and listened to it the second time because I was trying to get what he was trying to say. Now, as a professional, as a kind of like a business sense, I get where John Campea is coming from. And I think what he's trying to really just say is that when you're asked a question about, or even talking about being trained as Batman, being a character, right, as big as a character as Batman, you kind of publicly you have to show that you have the right attitude for an effort, especially when you're being paid millions of dollars to be in this role. And so I think if Robert Pattinson had just said, I am trying to work out, I do a few things here and there to just keep in shape. Understandably, he's probably not going to work out because we don't know. I guess he doesn't really, we don't know how long his quarantine is. So I get it. He may even be working out, and he's just saying that because, like he said, like some have known him, he's kind of a troll. So I kind of get where John Campea is coming from in terms of that, of playing the politics, right? In the case what Robert Pattinson does say in an interview, that if his publicist was here, he said, "What fires do I put out now? What fires should I put out if his publicist was there?" But his publicist wasn't there, so he just says things that he probably won't remember what he said after that because he is kind of a strange dude, but. So I didn't take any offense to what he said. A lot of people during quarantine are not working out. We're just kind of laying around wondering when is it going to be over. So I totally get that. But I also kind of get where John Campea is coming from in terms of a business sense. Because he's an employer before, right? And I'm sure a lot of employers are here. As a business sense, when you're hearing someone who gets hired and he says, well, we're not really working. No, I hired you for $20 an hour, or whatever, or however how much, $1,000, thousands of dollars a month, and we expect you to do this. And only to hear that person is like, well, I'm not going to do it. So I get as an employer, as that business sense where John Campea is coming from, and I think he's just Robert Pattinson is worded in a way. But within that interview, you also hear Christopher Nolan, who knows Robert Pattinson and knows what to expect from him as an actor, and it makes sense when you read the whole interview with this context involved in it, and seeing interviews of Robert Pattinson during his career and what he says and how he just kind of just playfully just goes along with it. He doesn't care. He just says it how he thinks it's just, you should say it, and so that's why I really do believe he's trolling here. Of course, he's going to be working out when the Batman gets back into production, and as an actor like himself, he probably will be that professional during that time. But a lot of these actors and actresses have publicists to make sure you say the right things, but in this case it was a video chat. The publicist wasn't right there, and so he's probably just speaking his mind at that moment. So really have no real issue with Robert Pattinson's words here at all. Now if it comes out and the Batman movie comes out, and then afterwards says that the director had Matt Reeves had problems with Robert Pattinson doing what required that he was hired to do, then maybe there's something there. But at this point in time, I don't think we should really get worked up over this. Okay, so that was I guess you can call that the Batman update, but something that I wanted to cover with all that it was going around, this negativity going around about this statement here. Okay, so the next thing is, this thing came out. DC Universe says iconic fan favorite writer Jeff Johns is joining us for a live Q&A tomorrow at 5:14 at 5 p.m. If you've never wanted to ask him anything, now's your chance. And of course, a lot of people hopped in on this, especially in the Snyder Cut fandom. In the replies, it's pretty ugly, but in the replies asking him questions about this. Now, you would probably have to go into this. Live Q&A, and if you're interested, I will definitely put that in the link, or you can see it right there, yourdcu.com Q&A, Jeff Johns. So I don't think your questions about the Snyder Cut will go through. I think they'll probably be blocking a lot of that, and actually, and when you go into the questions, actually, I don't. No, last time I tried, it didn't work. But there were some questions there that didn't pertain to Snyder Cut. There's a lot, because he has a lot of fans. A lot of comic book fans love his work. And so that's probably what they're going to pull out from. But, so don't be surprised if he doesn't cover anything about the Snyder Cut. But I would love to see him actually come forth with that. And either play it politically or just come out forward and saying something like, it never happened the way it should have, I'm not with DC anymore. I have this Magos Productions. We're moving forward with that. I would expect him to, put himself forward with that rather than just completely silent. But I also don't think he will say anything at the same time. So I'm really curious to see if anything happens tomorrow on his live Q&A. And of course, I'll let you know if anything does happen tomorrow on possibly tomorrow's show. So there's live Q&A with Jeff Johns. Check it out if you so please. And if you would like to see if you can ask him something, this may be your chance. Now, since we're talking about Justice League a little bit and release the Snyder Cut, this is kind of an update about I guess you can say Schumacher, who is one of the showrunners for Harley Quinn. A question was asked to that person, what was the conversation like when you pitched the release the Snyder Cut guy and The Last Jedi is in canon guy to the people at DC? Did you have to jump over any hurdles to implement them? In which Schumacher explained, honestly, I put the shirts in there as an internal joke and assumed those would never make it into the final cut. Haha. Ultimately, these guys were comedic to me because of how deep their toxic fandom ran, particularly that one guy. And I don't think he's representative of all the Snyder Cut enthusiasts at all. In truth, I had cold feet about keeping the shirts, but I'm glad we did at the end of the day. And the Snyder Cut fans' response has been outstanding. Such great sports. So he definitely does support the Snyder Cut, the fandom now. He actually bought a few shirts. This is a little bit more coming from South Cali guy. Q&A this past weekend. The question was, afternoon, gentlemen, love the show. I gotta say, the release of Snyder Cut guy, that was awesome. LOL. I'm a fan of the release of Snyder Cut, and even I know that's funny. My question, however, I gotta ask, what is your stance on release the Snyder Cut? And Schumacher also replied, "On my island in Animal Crossing, I have a custom sign that reads, 'Release the Snyder Cut,' that you can see when you fly in. I'm for it. I'm a completist who wants to see it released. I want all director cuts to be released." So that's fantastic. That goes to show you, yes, we are indeed a great sport. I'm so tickled, and I'm so proud of the movement that day, the fandom that day, where instead of getting mad at that thing, we championed it. We actually loved it. We made a shirt out of it. We put more, more money into the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention by buying the shirt. I'm still waiting for mine, but it's incredible, and it shows because the showrunners see it themselves how much of a positive fandom we are. At least most of us are a positive movement we are, and we try to just drive the positive narratives, the positive story. We must to keep the negativity of any sorts off the timeline. I know you're trying your best. I am trying too. So this is great. It's great to see outside people, especially people within the industry, kind of look at us in more positive light, and we have to keep it that way. Okay, we have to keep it at that positivity. So I'm very happy that Schumacher here realizes that and sees that and actually wants it as well. So he is definitely now a champion for Release the Snyder Cut. Now from this, I'm kind of curious to see where the Release the Snyder guy goes to next. I'm kind of curious to see what type of arc this Release the Snyder Cut guy will go through now that he's kind of had in a way our blessing, and seeing how much we love the guy, seeing how much the Snyder Cut fandom meant, and what it means in terms of the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, the director cut and things like that. So all the positive aspects of that about that. So I'm very curious to see where that arc the guy ends up at. All right, so now, interestingly, heads up, thanks for your heads up, Adrian. Misha Bukowski, an assistant director that worked with Zack for multiple films like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, and of course, Army of the Dead, is supporting Release the Snyder Cut. We totally miss this lady. She posted this today. Going out grocery shopping or working on a post-apocalyptic nightmare sequence? Stay home, stay safe, and protect our elders. Hashtag BVS. Hashtag Release the Snyder Cut. Hashtag Snyder Cut 2020? Okay. Hashtag Batman v Superman and hashtag those blank arms though. At Clay Enos. And this was in city of Detroit, United States. Now, looking at this now, I don't think this is a current picture. I still think they are at home, and she's very much at home. She may have scrolled through her pictures to look at it, and found this, decided to tweet this out today. Maybe. I don't know. But it's funny. We haven't seen it. I mean, we've been on Vero, and thank you to Adrian for pointing this out. But looking through it now, you kind of go through it, and we really miss this gem, right? Misha had Vero posted this out during the November 17 trending event, Waiting, Justice League Release the Snyder Cut. Misha Bukowski, she did it again right after the last shot of Man of Steel, all smiles with Henry Cavill, Release the Snyder Cut. You see Zack right there. And then even made fun of some things throughout the year. April 3rd, 2018, my kid put a mustache on his Superman skateboard. I don't think he knows how funny this really is. Another one from Army of the Dead, That's a Wrap, Peace Out, New Mexico. So very much always been well. She's part of the family. She's part of the Zack crew, Zack family that he's brought up with every crew member that he has come on board. they become a family, right? So we go back to this, and a lot of people have already pointed out, including pro tips here, that this is actually the truck from the nightmare sequence. This is that bus. This is that armored bus or truck, whatever you have you, and that is right there. That's right behind her. So that makes sense. Working on a post-apocalyptic nightmare sequence. Now, some people may say, is this in not past tense, or is this like right now? Is she going out grocery shopping, or is she actually working on a post-apocalyptic nightmare sequence? Now, I don't think she can go out and shoot anything, I don't think. So I still think this is something from the past that she brought on forward. But I guess the most intriguing aspect of this post is the hashtag Snyder Cut 2020. That is intriguing. I think that part is really intriguing to me. I've seen people put that out before, though. I mean, I've seen whether it be TPZ or even myself. I think in the beginning of the year, where we're kind of just hoping for Snyder Cut 2020, and so we put that. So it could be a proclamation, and kind of like I hope this happens. Snyder Cut 2020, let's go, or let's keep fighting for Snyder Cut 2020. Or does this mean Snyder Cut comes out in 2020? I don't know. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting pull, and it's great to see another Zack, pretty much another family member championing it. I mean, we missed this. What else did we miss? There must have been other cast and crew members who may have been posting something very similar that day. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing who else can we find that is in 100% support of release of Snyder Cut, 100% in Zack's family, Zack's camp, that would love to see Zack Snyder's Justice League. And of course, we're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I gotta mention here that InkToThePeople has renewed, kind of reopened the shirts. So if you didn't get a chance to get this the first time around, or the second time, or the third time, how many times this came around, All the Gods shirt, the official All the Gods shirt by Zack Snyder, designed by Zack Snyder, is out once again. And there is a nice long time left to buy, because this is an excellent shirt. So if you haven't had a chance to buy it yet, it is back on InkToThePeople. I'll put this in the link in the description below for you to get your All the Gods shirt, which we believe that it actually shows in entire Zack Snyder's Justice League 1, 2, and 3 timeline right here. A lot of intriguing things on this shirt, but it's all for you to get and wear by going to the link in the description below. The other shirt is also relaunching as well. Zack Snyder's Justice League official logo. Official branded logo, official branded name is on a hoodie, and I believe a t-shirt still yet. Yep, still got the shirts as well. So it's out again on by InkToThePeople. Of course, all proceeds go to the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. So there's a lot of time to buy and snag your shirt, your hoodie, if you didn't get a chance the first or second time around. So if you missed out on that, please go to these two links to get your All the God shirt, and of course your Zack Snyder's Justice League hoodie or t-shirt as well. And that brings me to the final thing, and that is the importance of May 27th. This is when HBO Max launches. Now, they're continuously announcing content day after day, new content, things we haven't heard of, content that they're promising to make, content that will be released later on, what they're going to production. It's a constant thing. HBO Max is constantly trying to catch up, really, to Netflix, right? So they're constantly putting stuff out. And they are launching definitely on May 27th. And as when they're and coinciding with their launching on May 27th, we've decided to do another kind of a Twitter event, another fan event to show HBO Max and Warner Max, Warner Media, that we really want them to have Zack Snyder's Justice League as part of their content, future content, and we really hope they do that. They announce it, right? So May 27th at 2:14 p.m. your time is your time to hashtag release the Snyder Cut and hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League. So this is very important this day. This will be a great day to all unite, to all come together, and just start being part of this big Twitter event that I can probably say, there's going to be a lot of eyes watching this day, right? This day, indeed. So please come in, bring your all. Now, I've also been getting a little bit pushback about this certain strategy. And I've been getting DMs and tweets. I appreciate it. They're talking about how, Chris, this is not a good idea. This is, we should do the fixed time, have everybody tweet out at the same fixed time, not everybody at their own time. And that has, worked as well. I've seen that worked, and we've all seen that work as well. We've done that as well. But there is a certain strategy to this, right? And I've talked with the people who've head this up, and there is a certain strategy to this. And one particular strategy is that once you tweet out 214, it's towards the eastern side, right? First, right? Those come first, and as the other countries go first, then comes America. America is the biggest trending, right? America has the biggest, the biggest rise in the Twitter events, right? So once the other countries go first, we kind of add on to it as the hours go by. It slowly adds on to it, and it bulks up, and so it rises to the point where it takes in the rest of the countries at the same time. So it's a steady stream of that hashtag accumulating as it goes throughout the different time zones, as all the way up through America, and finally, I'm the last one in Hawaii. So that's how the purpose for how this is going to be done. And in order to show you that this has been very successful before, I have to go back to the December event, that the Release the Snyder Cut event we had in December 23rd, where we had that thing where it says, this is your time, 2:14, remember that? And it was the same thing, 2:14 at your own time. It started out wonderfully, and I have a few pictures for you to share some data here. So this is all throughout the week, by the way, 148.5K tweets. On that single day, it went up to 65.8K tweets. Something that we haven't really accomplished in a single day since. And that's amazing. I mean, I think with this, without major celebrities, I mean, you got Rob Liefeld there, but major celebrities like Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot and things like that coming in to tweet about it, just the fandom alone getting 65,000 tweets, and for the entire week it kept on going on for 148,000 tweets, is big. That's still big numbers. So this data does show that it did work back in December. And then some other thing that happened in December that I thought was very interesting during that time, where we're planning this same type of 2:14 at your own time, was that Zack Snyder was the one, after this event, had launched this InkToThePeople, branded hoodie, branded shirt that day. That day, he announced the shirt and branded that day. So it's exciting. I mean, May 27th, 2:14 p.m. your time. Tweet if you can. Push if you can. Definitely just showing that there is a almost a synonymous message of that of HBO Max launching and Zack Snyder's Justice League. By no means have I ever used these hashtag events to call it an announcement for the movie. Okay, so don't get confused by that. I'm telling you about these events to push these fan events, right? Because I feel like you should know about it. It's something big. I feel like you should know about these events, and so that's what I'm announcing. I'm announcing the event. I don't know when the movie is going to be announced. I mean that's why we're doing these events. So to push this movie. Push this branded movie, by the way, that Zack branded himself. Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's on the shirt, for crying out loud. So that's what's happening here. I just felt like I should share with you that putting 2:14 p.m. at your own time has worked before. There's articles have talked about how Zack Snyder had come out with his own branding event on that day, and it trended that day. And it has been successful. It has been undoubtedly been successful that day. But I'm also trying to hint at you, like in the other videos before, that we did most of our job trending on November 17th. We did most of our job that day. All right. So I'll just leave it at that. Now it's kind of like just a continuous stream of a message to HBO Max that Zack Snyder's Justice League is indeed in demand. It's indeed something that's valuable, something that you should really invest in, and we should just continuously spread that singular message every day if you can. But May 27th is going to be, from what I hear, is very important to spread this message. Zack Snyder's Justice League at HBO Max, HBO Max PR, Warner Media, AT&T. Let's do it, guys. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.